Hey everyone, Andrew back again and welcome to another video, and it is Saturday again, so I'm back with another slasher review as part of the HORRORmans Slashback Slasher Challenge series. This week's theme was to review a slasher sequel, so I've decided to go with Sleepaway Camp 2 Unhappy Campers for this week's theme and review. It had been a while since I'd watched this, so I thought it would be good to give this one another watch. So Sleepaway Camp 2 is set 5 years after the original movie. Angela's back at camp once again. She spent the last 5 years in therapy. She's older and she's become a camp counselor. And she slowly begins to get annoyed by some of the behavior, the naughty, bad behavior of some of the campers. So she takes it into her own hands to dispose of these naughty campers by killing them off one by one. So that is essentially the storyline for this one. Now we'll move on to my thoughts on the film. Now, I'm a massive fan of the original film. It's one of my favourite slasher movies of all time. I think it's an absolute classic. And overall, I'm a big fan of the three original Sleepaway Camp films. I haven't seen Return to Sleepaway Camp. I have no plans to. I've heard it's utter shit. So I am a fan of this franchise, or the first three movies anyway. And the best way to sum up this sequel for me is it's a lot of fun. Everything about this movie from start to finish is fun. Angela's character's fun, the camp setting's a lot of fun, the campers are a lot of fun, and the kills are a lot of fun. So, but I'll explain that a little bit more. So this movie is pretty different to the original. So the original film is pretty serious. This one's kind of the opposite. It definitely takes on more comedy elements that I'm not normally a big fan of, but for this movie it works. You've got to mention Angela's character, the polar opposite of her character in the original film, which again I think works because 5 years have passed, she's gone through therapy, she's had changes made, and she's almost like a completely different person. So in the original film she's pretty quiet and shy. In this one, she's really outgoing, bubbly, lively, loud, and she even spouts off one-liners here and there. So, completely different character. She's also played by someone else. So, in the original film, Valissa Rose played Angela. She did a great job. This time around, Pamela Springsteen steps into the role, and I think she did a really, really good job. She portrays Angela really, really well. So, I was impressed with that. The camp setting, I'm a sucker for camp-themed slashers, so the location was absolutely awesome. The kills, there was a good amount, there was good variety, there was pretty much every kill imaginable. I'm not going to spoil too much, but yeah, there was really, really good variety in terms of the kills, so I liked the kills a lot, and again, they were a lot of fun to watch. I definitely wanted to mention the soundtrack too. Now, it wasn't heavy on the music or soundtrack, but there was that 80s vibe during some scenes when music was playing, which I liked. I'm a massive fan of that era of music. So when there was a bit of music and soundtrack, it was pretty awesome. It's not really a negative, but I definitely wanted to bring up the fact that the campers are a lot older in this one. So if you're familiar with the original film, you'll know the campers are a lot they're younger, they're a more sort of believable, realistic age to be at a summer camp. This time around, they're almost too old to be at the camp, but you can't really fault the movie too much for that because that was pretty much common practice in pretty much every 80s horror movie out there. The characters were a lot older, so it's not really a negative thing, but I definitely wanted to bring it up. I probably would have liked the movie a little bit more, or it would have been a lot more realistic if the campers had been a little bit more younger. But again, with the different tone of this movie to the original, it's not really an issue, and it kind of works. In saying that though, none of the characters annoyed me. They were all pretty likable, and the acting was surprisingly pretty decent for this type of movie. There's a couple of key scenes that I definitely wanted to mention before I finish up with this review. One was, I absolutely loved the scene when Angela and her cabin were out on an overnight camp trip in tents. Some of the boys decided to dress up as some horror icons and scare Angela. It kind of backfired because she decided to dress up as a horror icon herself, and dispatched of these two characters rather quickly. I loved that. It was a great throwback to some iconic slasher characters. That's all I'll say on that. But yeah, that scene was absolutely awesome. The other thing that I really liked, and it's been done in other slashers before, but I do quite like it, is towards the end of the film, well, there's an old cabin that Angela frequents quite a bit, and she's basically left her victims set up in the cabin, which I really, really liked. So towards the end of the film, when you get down to the few remaining characters, they arrive at the cabin to kind of have a showdown with Angela, and of course they come across their deceased bunkmates from camp, and I really, really liked that. It has been done before, but yeah, I'm a big fan of that. So definitely wanted to mention those two moments from this film. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I really have to say on Sleepaway Camp 2 Unhappy Campers. A different toned movie to the original, but it definitely works, and as I've already said, it's just a lot of fun. So if you get to see this one, I definitely recommend it. And if you have seen this one, let me know what you think of it in the comments section below. Anyway guys, that's it for this review. Until next Saturday when I'm back with another one, thank you for watching.